ha a studio B ewo a nimdie showroom sabre yensemre no stories abeka yensa ewo my Ghana o political news etwego sabre yemonwura ensem no emu
about, and we liked it. In a studio in Asempa with Obi, you know, we're always watching Obi's program about the suspension of the Chief Justice. Now, Okopo is not a lawyer, so it's very interesting listening to people who are not lawyers, who are bringing the commonsensical and the social angle to this matter. This is what he said.
You see, the two Obi no one kebia ochna one shana be count. Now, Mami way, Chief Justice. One of the things Emma and it's for be brave penasem and it's a court 2020 no. I'm say 12-0 and I 7-0 scholar. Now Obi.
A scholar only football.
Utie sebi. I see doing ketia kra or babe 2 for sample for no. Or no answer mo ko no mo kita hwe. Obi. You know, it's sad when Obi instead of Obi reflecting affixing the issues. Obi Daniel ko to Obi so say no my psychologist it was a way of energizing the NDC base. Say we are lose court na I'm Boye, so that the base will still be energetic towards 2024. But by doing so, no, what could create situation? Ama ya 7-0. Ama say no, what's antagonizing the courts? Na only 7-0 no. So mum pe unti de bia na yesa. But God is watching. If anybody tells you God plays no role in politics, it's a lie. This woman, Obi, me can't be this woman, if she goes on her knees and prays, na Obi, Sebi, ena Oyeno, Obi na tatano. I've cited the example of the 7-0. Look at some of the issues I raise here. So, or trust suggesting my president say, or recommend you Obi. Now. Me recommend you share will you see, when you look at some of the Niama Musaitan or Council lowering the threshold, ultimately say, well, be why yet not dream that. If you might imagine that I say, we'll deal with this person. Now, I feel the next step is how do we get what we need to do with the person? But like I'm saying, Tony Blair says something very powerful for leaders, and I'll say it. I say, when you become a leader, especially when the mandate you got is overwhelming, never be mistaken to assume that it is so much love. Most of the time it is expectation. And that you will make enemies along the way unknowingly. Don't spend time making more enemies deliberately. Mami way unknowingly in bushia asori offering mu fear offering are they hearts that you are bringing aboard or you are losing? Obi, enti mesre. All I'm saying is that
I will tell you the Charlotte Osei story. I also had a family.
Yes. But you see, that is why Omomuka Asemeneno, me show more. Now, I am in Mobo Wakwamo. What was their position and orientation that time?
On Charlotte Osei.
Yes. You see,
who was orientation?
Osei, you criticize the true Charlotte Osei.
You see,
why are you supporting?
Yes.
Another
I am saying.
Obi, you see, Obi, and you see, they say little drops of water make a mighty ocean.
Yes.
It is possible that Charlotte's friends, family members, and people who are not happy. That's why I quoted Tony Blair's statement. If you can avoid, Adiamuka wasem. Say, in fact, Charlotte today has been given some board BBB.
Yeah. Ghana Gas board.
What does it tell you? If someone is not sympathetic or does not believe in the ideals of the NDC, would they be made the board chair of Ghana Gas? Board member. So what it tells you is that no, or your mood dear,
how?
Obi, me moderate. Me in case of NDC member. Me in case the ideals, the ideology, FPT, exactly. You did know. Musu Kroma nyina said the Kufado ye ebia no kan na ebia ne okobo amitina ebia amitina as opposition member. Na no de obi ye down the line eni abetina no. Usu ofa sa kwan no so a sebi ebetimi di wa ba ebia ye wo no. Edu Charlotte so no na wo ye dede. Obi ye dede ne Also, you come, but question you have to ask yourself: the oil and I don't know, Osha Buano, and I am Buano. So, Obi, media, me can say the man who has the chance to make history today in this country is Justice Kwaman. And that's an Ivan.
Yeah, Justice Kwaman.
Obi, people have made history for the right reasons. Obi, others have made history for the wrong reasons. My prayer for him, I've said it here, I'll repeat it, that his fidelity will lie to the content of the discussions and the cases that will come there, and not to predetermined links. My prayer for him. Why? And I mentioned it here. Because those who gave him the task already have a wish. Makanda, and yeah, I did Kukum. President Oka publicly, not Kukum, say, they have to reset that whole place, starting with the woman. But my prayer with him is that, say, Okomuna content, Obi, content, or share case now, the outcome is that the woman should go. Sebi, her blood will not be on her hands.
Which blood?
But what I say, a figurative expression. I don't want your blood on my hands. It is best they be two no, misune fire. But what I say, and yes, baby. So the point I'm making is that, Obi, that man has the opportunity to make history. And unfortunately for him, he can't choose the other option. He will definitely make one which is on the right side of history, or the other way on. And I'm happy you're a lawyer. Students will come 20, 30, 100 years down the line. They will look at the Kwaman report and they will use it to teach students how his fidelity to the law stood, whether it advanced the cause of the law and justice or it betrayed the law and justice. And I keep on saying, I pray for him, because it is not easy when the one who gives you a task. And yeah, easy. Say nipa all small say you juma bi man no. Who idea of the ohwehwe. And yeah, easy. I pray for him.
MPP Congress. In terms of the timing, doing it 7 months, 8 months after a heavy election defeat, was it too early or too late?
I think it was just about the right time, because if it was earlier, people would have felt as if they were in a rush. After every election, after every huge major political election, or even any endeavor at all, one of the things that is important is to do a review, is to do self-introspection. That is good corporate governance. And so it was important that this happened. And if that had happened too early in terms of a conference, then it would have been seen as they taking for granted whatever happened in 2024. But there was also the Microwave Committee, and they went in to do that kind of research to see why they lost. So I think that coming in after the Microwave Committee, the Council of Elders meeting, I think this was right about the good time. And I have to commend them, because if they had also waited later, then the divisions, the controversies, the visceral, antipathy that is in the party would fester or will deepen. And so I think this was really about the right time to bring everybody together to say, okay, do not lose hope. We can do something about this, but then at the same time also to say that it is about time we close ranks. So I think the timing was pretty good.
But is a division over because of the Congress? They are still fighting for flag bearership, leadership, so they are still fighting?
Yeah, they are still fighting. Well, I mean, that is very characteristic of the game of politics. And people would always say that, yes, the primaries are fair game. That is the right time to do the intra-party competition. But right after that, of course, everybody runs back to the center. So, the immediate and central implication of what has happened is that we are beginning to see the strengthening of the intra-party political system in Ghana as well. I've always believed, and the political scientists will say, that the health of a democracy is inextricably connected with the health of the political parties, because the democratic enterprise is built around the fulcrum of the political parties. And so the more there is intra-party democracy in the parties, the more there is participation in the parties in a very direct sense. And that was a major theme coming out of the Congress, the call for greater grassroots participation. The more there is accountability in the political parties in terms of who did what in the run-up to the election. And the more there is honesty and review in the party, the better this translates into the democracy that we have. Because if you don't do this at the party level, I mean, how are you going to do that when you get to the national stage? So yes, those divisions will be there, those factions will be there, and it is important for intra-party competition, intra-party democracy. So I don't think that it will go away completely. But then if you listen to Dr. Bawumia's speech, one of the things that he strategically did was to give a key